What's up, guys? I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer, and I am here with Devin Talks Tabletop and another episode of Open That. And as you can see, I am back in front of my glory painting and my dark walls and my loud fan at night because this was the best time to get the video done. So I'm going to do it. And I've had this for a day now. I got this yesterday. And I've been very excited to open it, and I wanted to wait to open it with you guys. I'm pumped about it. Obviously, from the title, you already know what it is, but if you, for some reason, didn't read the title and just clicked on the video, thanks! And also, let's get going. I feel like stereotypically or habitually at late nights, it's not super late, but it is night, I usually have been drinking tequila or something like that, but I've stopped drinking alcohol and eating sweets until I drop about 10 pounds. So I've just got unsweetened chai tea, cold brewed, and then to remind myself of what I can't have, I'm using this nice corkscrew waitress or waiter cork opener. Bottle opener, corkscrew opener, corkscrew bottle opener. Anyways, that's what I'm using. This is a really good opener, by the way. It's a Houdini. This is super solid. Never have any issues opening any bottle of wine or anything like that with this sucker. Let's see how it does with cardboard. Alrighty. This has come all the way from Sweden? I believe so, Sweden, yeah. Because this is role-playing, RPG content. Specifically, I got you, Sebastian. I caught myself after I said it the first time. I'm going to make an effort to not say specifically the rest of the episode. Guys, I've got thoughts for videos. I've got thoughts for t-shirts. I've got thoughts. Thoughts. So you're hearing a lot of plastic right now. But what this is I don't know how many other people have this. Probably a decent amount of reviewers. I don't really cross paths or watch a lot of RPG content. So there's probably a vast majority of RPG content creators who maybe have this or reviewers. But not a lot of the people that I associate with and that I hang out with play RPGs or are super interested in them. So I'm the only one that I know that has this or is talking about this. And that is the One Ring. So if you have followed some of my content, not necessarily all of it, then you would know that I love RPGs. And almost said it, Sebastian. I caught myself. If I had to pick a publisher that I liked the most out of the RPG content I have seen, it would not be the classic D&D world. It would be all of the content that has been created by Free League Publishing or Fria Ligan. They are a Swedish RPG company. They are responsible for the board game Tales from the Loop, which you might be familiar with the Amazon Prime Video series, which is based off of the artwork of Simon Stalenhag, I think is his name, who also is the, creator artist of the world that ended up becoming the Tales from the Loop RPG system as well. I don't actually think I have anything on Free League. I've reviewed the At the Mountains of Madness illustrated volumes, which are fantastic. Those aren't RPG content. They're just stuff that, they have put out. Call of Cthulhu and At the Mountains of Madness, illustrated by Francois Berenger. And if you like Cthulhu or Lovecraftian horror and stories, those illustrated short stories or novellas and stuff, they're awesome. So I've reviewed those on Quacklope, but I think this RPG content, I don't think I have personally written anything on it since I worked for Game Tyrant. But this is the One Ring, so it's based off of Lord of the Rings. This was a very successful Kickstarter campaign. And this is the main hardbacked RPG core rulebook. Role-playing in the world of The Lord of the Rings based on the works of J.R.R.R. Tolkien. And then this right here is I'm opening the wrong thing. Obviously, I've never used this to open up packages before. Let me see if I can do this kind of... There we go. Small... There we go. Cool. Small incisions. This is the Game Master or DM, Dungeon Master, whatever you want to call it. In the Alien world, it's called the GM, the Game Mother, I think is what it's called there. So this is the Loremaster's screen and Rivendell Compendium. Oh, cool! I got the Compendium thing. I didn't know everything that I was getting in this review set that they sent me. A deluxe Loremaster's screen in landscape format for the second edition of the One Ring role-playing game. It features beautiful art on the outside and a host of useful tables and important information on the inside, while keeping the Loremaster's schemes hidden from the eyes of inquisitive players. The Rivendell Compendium contains information about the last homely house, including a map of the valley and a plan of the house itself. Some of Rivendell's inhabitants are included, including Elrond, who can be used as a new patron, which I don't know the context of that, because this is a different system than the Alien system that I am personally familiar with, and the Tales from the Loop system. Finally, there are also new rules for how to create High Elf player heroes. Cool, so that's just a little thing there. This is the Rivendell Compendium. If you have, if you're not familiar with Free League at all, they kind of do two different types or styles of things. They have these soft cover booklets, which are for smaller amounts of information, and then when you have the larger chunks of information, they do these hardback rule books. One thing that I love about Free League is the artists that they enlist, the ones that they already have, like kind of on their team, and just all of the people they work with create beautiful products. They're not only fantastic role-playing experiences, they're also just beautiful. So, you kind of have this like matte black background, you've got the red One Ring ominous color, and then you've got this stylized like cutout and four drop, not backdrop, 4-drop, whatever you call it, image of kind of like some of the heroes here, with Sauron menacingly being the black silhouette that they're all imposed on top of. So excited to dive into that. This Rivendell Compendium, kind of want to jump into looking at this lore screen. And so yeah, this is similar to the Alien game screen that I have, like the GM screen. And so the nice thing about this is you get this massive, wide artwork. You kind of see this large landscape scene. But then on the inside, you have all of this information that the GM can use to their advantage. And it's just kind of like helpful reminders. And, I'll try to like let you slowly see all parts of that. But it essentially just gives you critical information that you'll want and that you won't have to always look up, but it's just kind of friendly reminders that you'll have at all times. Injury types, success, failure types, journey elements to it. A lot of this stuff I'm unfamiliar with because I haven't actually drilled down and dived into the core rulebook yet. I'm excited to run a system, but I think it goes this way first. Yeah. So lore screen, Rivendell Compendium, main rulebook, and then this is the element that I think maybe brings Free League above a lot of its competition and really impresses me with the kind of content that they create. This is a starter box. So as you can see, you kind of have, Frodo and the hobbits and stuff on a pilgrimage away from the Shire, and this is, the very beginning of them on their journey. And that's the artwork there. And then you've kind of got, the flavor text on the back. A strange invitation from Cousin Bilbo, mentioning that he's in need of help. Most odd. But then again, a great many things about that particular hobbit have been odd ever since that business with the dragon. Nothing wrong with taking a stroll and helping old Bilbo out, I suppose. After all, there aren't any dangers to worry about here in the Shire. That's where you're wrong. There are always dangers to worry about. So, the reason why I like these starter sets is because not only do they typically have a soft cover condensed version of the larger core rulebook, but more importantly, they usually have an adventure that is self-contained and prepped. I don't know if they have one on here. We shall see. It contains all you need to take your first step into Middle-earth and experience the adventures hobbits get up to. With streamlined rules and ready-to-go characters, it is easy to quickly sit down and play the game. The One Ring is set between the time Bilbo went on his journey and the events in The Lord of the Rings, allowing you to explore the Shire by taking on the roles of some hobbits. Oh, so that's not necessarily Sam and Frodo, because this is in between The Hobbit and then the original trilogy. You take on the roles of some hobbits whose children will go on to do extraordinary things, such as Drogo Baggins, Rory Brandybuck, and Esmeralda Took. This box set contains a 24-page volume of condensed rules, so much easier to jump into than the larger hardback, a 52-page compendium covering the 4 farthings of the Shire, all the way from Greenholm in the west to Buckland and the Old Forest in the east. So you get a compendium similar to that Rivendell compendium that tells you about the Shire. A 32-page volume containing 5 exciting adventures to play. This is what I'm talking about. You already have adventures that the GM does not have to handcraft. It's not a painstaking process, and the characters are preset to where you can essentially bring it in, give the character sheets out to people, give them some time to familiarize themselves, and then you get started. And you get to experience the world and experience the role-playing without necessarily having to do all the front-loading of creating a character, devising a reason why you're coming together, figuring out what the adventure is going to be, discovering the arc. It does that for you. It also comes with 8 double-sided pre-generated character sheets, a huge full-color double-sided map showing the Shire and Eriador, 30 war gear cards for weapons and armor, 6 double-sided journey roll and combat stance cards, 2 D12 feat dice, and 6 D6 success dice. Let's go ahead and get that off. So you are in between the time of the movies and the stories that people are familiar with, but within the world of Lord of the Rings. And, oh, nice, you have an additional reminder printed onto the inset of this. And then they all have custom dice. So what I have discovered is that I think when Alien came out, I think that's when they really started this process. So I reviewed Alien, and it was by itself. It came with a cinematic scenario, which is what they kind of call their predetermined movies or stories that they have designed for players. But then a little while later, an Alien starter box came out. And so they sent that to me too, and I reviewed that as well. It was the similar story, but I was kind of reviewing the condensed content and what that's able to give you as a player. And then after that, they did the same starter box for Tales from the Loop, and now alongside the printing and publishing of this, they already have the starter set for the One Ring. The One Ring. What I like about that is it tells me that they've found a process that works. They've found a style that is well suited to onboarding and bringing people into the role-playing world. It makes it accessible. I already have a D&D group that I do with my wife. We play with some friends of ours that we met in residency, and we enjoy that remotely. We don't do it in person because pandemic, and also because the group that we started playing with doesn't live near us anymore. And just in terms of like storytelling and talking, and my wife's interest in like reading and fantasy and all of the things that we both share interests in, it's natural for us to be attracted to the idea of role playing. I personally enjoy it a lot. My wife was a little bit more reticent or not super hesitant. She just was a little anxious, I think, when she first started, but she has gotten into it and has started to, obviously become more comfortable with that. I think that these starter boxes, though, are a fantastic way to make the community more accessible, make the process of role-playing more accessible. Yeah, so they have a games catalog here, which I normally would toss these things, but for your sake, I'll go over. They have Alien, which I think is fantastic, and this is the larger Alien set that I have. If you aren't familiar with the Innies, I think they run them at Gen Con, because I believe it was at Gen Con when I was there. It's essentially the role-playing awards, and they've won gold and silver for so many of their products. Alien has won gold. It's just fantastic. So I have this whole set here. I had the starter set, but I got rid of it because it was a repeat of content that I already had in the main bulk of content. They've got Forbidden Lands, which is kind of like their classic fantasy role playing. I showed that really quickly. I'm going to show that a little bit more slowly for you. They've got Tales from the Loop, which I've only played the starter set content for that. I have not explored the larger world in Tales from the Loop. They've got Symbaroum, which is kind of like a darker fantasy, a little bit more maybe Nordic. No, not really Nordic. Just like a darker forest and like, adventure-based one. They've got Twilight 2000, which is one of their popular ones, which I think just recently came out with a new edition. It returns. So they've got a new retro-apocalyptic edition. This is the Nordic one. This is Nordic Horror Vaesen. They've got that role-playing system. And then they've got some that are actually the basis for, I think, some of their RPG systems. They've got Mutant Year Zero and then the Coriolis. And then on the back here, they've got Morkborg, if you were noticing that while I was flipping through this, which is kind of like a insane, doom metal album of a game, a spiked flail to the face, rules light, heavy everything else. It's a pitch black apocalyptic fantasy RPG. Just crazy art, world building, and narrative cohesiveness in all of the systems that I have been familiar with. So they've got these custom dice, which are, white with red accents, really nice there. Gonna pop those back in. You've got, it looks like 2 D12s and 6 D6s, which I think is what it said on there. And then this is the weapon or gear deck that they were talking about. I think it's 30 or so. I'm gonna try and get in there. Try and get in there with my corkscrew bottle opener. Come on. Come on. I'm going to do the thing that I shouldn't do, which is... Oh, it worked. It worked. So, you've got cards following the same visual aesthetic as the dice. You've got the dagger, the cudgel, the short sword, the sword, the long sword, the short spear. For you wondering how I'm reading this, it shows it on the back, so I'm not that impressive. Great spear, great shield, mail shirt, kind of similar to what Frodo wore when he got stabbed by the cave troll. I think it was a cave troll. So, games catalog, don't need that. Got the nice deck here. I will say one thing that I did appreciate about the Alien game is they gave you a physical box for your deck of cards, which I like just so you don't have a loose moving around. But it's possible that, they're trying to reduce environmental or production stuff. You have this massive map, which is beautiful. The Alien map is just kind of like a map of space, so it's not visually impressive. That's my first timestamp. That's my second timestamp. Can't believe I haven't been timestamping. So you've got this beautiful world here. I think this is Eriador. And then this side is the Shire. So just gorgeous visuals. I guess I've been getting back into Lord of the Rings recently because I just recently got War of the Ring and one of the expansions. My brother has another expansion that is supposed to be, earmarked for me. I don't think it's on the way, but it's earmarked for me. And they've really got, I kind of like this visual style. It reminds me of how it looks whenever Bilbo Baggins in the movies is like recording his tale, his events. And, just that like nice calligraphy or artwork and, decorative illustrative writing inside of a, old parchment scrolls. And you know, that kind of old yellowed paper. So you've got nice artwork. You've got Bilbo Baggins. You've got Balin, which I remember him from the Hobbit movies and the Hobbit book. A Brandy book. Another Brandy book. Paladin Took the Second. That's pretty cool. So you've got a lot of people here. A lot of preset characters, which means you can get off the ground running pretty quickly, which is always nice. So you got character sheets, you got the map, you got the dice, you've got the deck of cards, you've got... can I, like, leverage that up? There we go. You've got the adventures here. So this is your soft cover booklet that's going to have the adventures. And it kind of gives you, you know, Conspiracy of the Red Book. So it's got introduction, it's got using the pre-generated characters, it's got part 1, part 2, an epilogue, and then it moves on to another adventure. And what this does is it gives everybody an accessible way to jump into the game without overwhelming you with the meaty thickness that is this tome. That can be intimidating. It's intimidating to me, even though I'm excited about it. I like it. And then here's the difference for people who, if you're ever curious about buying this kind of stuff, this is the difference between the core rulebook and the condensed rule set. So, you know, these are usually 200 to 300 page beasts. Yeah, this is like almost 250 pages. And I mean, it's gorgeous, by the way. It's again following that same visual aesthetic, you know, absolutely beautiful interior with some nice big visuals. But it's massive. It's almost 250 pages. And this is, you know, less than 30 pages. And it condenses a lot of like need to know information to where you can get into the game much faster than having to trudge through the larger book. And then I feel like the last guy here, oh no, 2 last things. Oh, and they also have a nice map on the inside. So they even use the box space to make it more functional. And this is additional adventures. Did I put this back in here? I guess I put it back in there. This is the adventures, which I've already gone over. And this is the Shire, which tells you all about the Shire. Now, this is going to be helpful for the GM specifically to kind of give you that breakdown of all of the places in the Shire, Eriador, and all of the farthings that make it up, you know. But just like, man, gorgeous. Gorgeous artwork. I love the world building and the lore that goes along with their work. They're so impressive in that regard. But yeah, I don't really have too much more. Obviously I plan to jump into this content. I'm hoping to get into it at the end of... I may try to get in it sooner, but I have a date that could be feasible end of March. So I'm excited to jump into this. But this is the One Ring from Free League Publishing. They have starter sets which are available. And you don't have to get all of this. This was just, sent to me because I like role-playing stuff and I wanted to look at all of it. But this is the starter set. You can buy this by itself. And then if it's an experience that you enjoy, if you move through all of the adventures that are there using the preset characters and you find it something that you want to invest in, only then do you have to, get the larger core rulebook and see how to build a story of your own. But there's so much opportunity for a story within just a box like this, which to me is a major selling point and one of the smartest things Free League has done for RPGs in general, because it really brings the ceiling down in terms of, what you need in order to compel people to play a game and to learn, how to jump into a world. So Rivendell Compendium. I honestly think I'm just going to slot the Rivendell Compendium in here for now at least. Put that in there. Honestly, may even put that in there too. I'm just going to slot almost all of this in this box because why not? Let's just... Does it fit? It will fit when I don't put it at the very top. That'll make more sense. So we're going to fit that. Oh, it doesn't really fit. It's just a smidge too big. So I'm going to pull it back out for the sake of not damaging it. I don't want to damage the box or anything. So I'll just keep it out. I've kept out the alien one too, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The One Ring, starter set, core rulebook, Loremaster screen. Trash. That, not the game, just that. Timestamp. I'm excited. I'm ready to get into this. Once again, I'm Devin. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a good one. Bye.